Hi, everybody. I'm Jay Kinman here, and it's good to be back with you. I am having a conversation with one of my wonderful quilt friends, and I wanted to invite you in to be a part of our little conversation. I hope you're having fun with the Tiny Treasures Club. We're doing the small gems, and just recently, I'm now introducing the larger blocks as well. Instead of just the 6-inch blocks, we're also going to be doing the 12-inch blocks, and I'm hoping that makes it even more enjoyable for you. So I wanted to introduce you to a friend of mine named Cindy Lohbeck. Cindy and I met on the set of Quilting Arts TV a couple of years ago. I think it was maybe 2.5 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. She'll have to correct me. And we just instantly hit it off. She's just a hoot. I adore her, and she gets to do stuff that I think all of us love to do, which is play in pure, fabulous color. So, hi, Cindy. How are you?
Hi, MJ. Thank you for this invitation. It's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. Finally, after all this time, we've talked on the phone, we've communicated via email, and now, thank goodness for this technology, we get to say, hi, gorgeous.
Hi, dear. We just didn't get our yearly hug in Houston.
Oh,
And so
that's right.
until that happens.
Is that not the strangest thing to be home in October in the beginning of November? I'm like, I'm supposed to be somewhere else.
Yeah, it was like a different world this year, completely. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of us grew and found strengths that we didn't know we had.
Yes. Yes. Well, I want to put a
And
pin in that. I want to put a pin in that because that is definitely something I want to ask you about is what has this all been for you and how has this changed your approach to your art and your craft?
woo,
But I need to ask people, I need to let people know what you do. And so I'd love for you just to explain what your art is, what your work is, what you're known for. I know what you're known for, but I'd rather you tell in your fabulous words.
well, MJ, thank you. I am a textile artist and I predominantly focus on fabric dyeing. Now, I quilt and I do all the other fun stuff that we all do, but I love to dye fabric in any kind of way, shape, or form. And my business started about 12 years ago with people seeing the quilts that I made out of the fabric that I dyed and saying, oh, dye me some fabric, dye me some fabric. And I kept going, go dye your own fabric. I got quilts to make.
Right, right.
So I, after doing this, I thought, there's really a hole in the market. If I put everything you need in a kit to go home, I used to sell them in a bucket.
Oh my.
And it had the dye and the fabric and the dye cups and the mixing cups and the gloves and dust mask and measuring spoons and everything you needed for the project. And it just took off from there. And I have 12 years ago started out with one little kit. And now I think I have 15, 20. I have been prolific this year in coming up for new things for Zoom.
Yes. Yes.
So a lot of new classes.
So, I took a class with you that it was ombres. It was called Rad Ombres, which I thought was just adorable. And it was just how to make these wonderful gradients. And that's one of my, oh, there it is. Oh my goodness. I need to pin you. There you go. Lift that up again so we can see it.
Well, I tell you what, MJ, I love your work. I have always been a fan. And that's one of the reasons we hit it off so much. And when I see it, I know that you're not getting those with just light, medium, and dark value. You have a whole range of value.
That is right.
And every time I see those, I want to do them with my ombre fabrics.
Yes. Yes.
I think they're perfect.
You know what? It's we've talked about this all the time. Color gets all the credit, but it's the value contrast that does the work. Oh, look at that. Oh my gosh. That's
Don't you have one called Elizabeth that's in the pinks?
yes. Oh my God. Oh,
So yeah, I agree. Without value, color is
flat.
color, effort,
Mhm.
time, energy, money, batting, thread, all just go down the drain.
That's right. That's right. Oh my goodness. It's how to make that color just really move and how to make it
Yeah,
sing. And
yeah.
speaking of singing, look what's singing hallelujah on the wall behind you. That's another type of dyeing. Explain that.
Uh, that's probably what I'm most well known for.
Okay.
And this is ice dyed mandalas. As a textile artist, I live in the world of what if I,
Mhm.
and that's my mantra. I ask myself, what if I every day? Because I've been doing this for years and I get a little bored. I
Mhm.
don't get many surprises when I unwrap things anymore.
Mhm.
And so if I keep asking myself, what if I, that helps me push the limits, my perceived limits of the materials I use.
Yes.
And this one was just this mashup question of what if I take some of my old hippie tie-dye, apply a little ancient shibori, and then use an ice dyeing method to get the color on. And I kept thinking, oh, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. I had it in my mind that the rubber bands there would be too many layers. And man, you just got to push through those self perceived limitations in art. Because had I not done that, you and I probably wouldn't be talking right now.
Right. Artists are explorers. We are
Yeah.
explorers of color, line, design, etc. I'm telling you what, Cindy, as I'm looking at that behind you, that green and blue around the edge just glows. It reminds me of an opal. You've got this incredibly spectacular mandala opal behind you.
Happy accidents, honey. I wish I could tell you I could recreate that and have control over it.
Right.
There are fabric dyeing methods where I get complete control.
Yes.
The ombre is one of them.
Mhm.
This one is really good for me because I am a control freak
Yes, me
and
too.
I have to give it up. And so I get to participate in the joy of the unexpected every single time I open one of these up.
So the universe gets to play, you get to play and dance with the universe and all the possibilities when you are doing your work. Happy accidents happen all the time, and I'm so grateful for
Oh,
them.
yeah. In fact, I recently did a class, another mashup, where I ice dyed some Ichijime shibori, which is traditionally very sharp, crisp, patterned shibori in indigo.
Oh,
And we changed all the colors and broke all the rules. And boy, I pushed those perceived boundaries for my students. They were almost in a panic because I beat those rules into their heads so much. And then when I'm going, no, you know what? Let's play.
yeah, yeah,
They freed up. They freed up, right? First of all, you got
yeah,
freedom,
yep,
permission to play,
right, yeah,
and they had a ball.
yeah.
And it has, let me just show you this little guy I'm working on. These are what's come out of that.
Oh my word.
Doing a cute little Lonely Hearts Club Valentine's class this Saturday. So coming up with new and fun projects. I have a wonderful tribe of my diehards.
Diehards in Arizona. That's right, girl.
Yeah.
I feel
Well, I have picked up clients, are being able to take my classes on Zoom from Australia. I had one in last Saturday's class from Hawaii. And while I was saying, oh, I miss you all so much, she's like, oh no, I wouldn't be able to be there if this were in person.
That's right. That's right. So just to let everybody know, you are in Scottsdale, Arizona. So
I
while
am. I think understanding the foundation of your materials and how they work give you the confidence to use them in a different way.
yes, yes.
And people walk into my class all the time wanting to do quilt backs. And I always say, okay, honey, let's walk before we run. Let's start with a fat quarter. Because in fabric dyeing, MJ, most people think that they're going to start dyeing fabric right away. And a lot of it is prep. We spent probably 2/3 of the class prepping, folding, manipulating the fabric in some fashion. That one of my favorite definitions of shibori. I think of shibori as tie-dye's grandma.
Oh.
Okay, everything, and it's an umbrella. There's many different kinds of shibori.
Okay.
One of my favorite definitions is to take a two-dimensional piece of fabric, sculpt it into something three-dimensional somehow, some way. Fold, rubber band, knot, tie, twist, pull wrap. I mean, I can come up with 3,000 things.
Yes.
And so did many, many, many other cultures. So as the concept, and then you apply the dye, and when you turn it back into a two-dimensional piece of goods, you've created pattern.
Yes.
And you can do that randomly, or you can do that with very much intent.
Or
and while there's
right?
Yeah, there's random elements to what's behind me. We do it with so much intent. And then right at the end, we have to give up control anyway. So it's really a good lesson.
Yeah, I know. You know, this whole thing about art has made me really just kind of let go and just let it be. The serendipity plays a huge role, yeah, and that's why I like to work in a series. I've talked about this often, and so the people in the Tiny Treasures Club are going to hear me say this over and over again. I love to work in a series because when you're working on one piece, what you learn informs the next piece, and then informs the next piece. Do you have that same kind of thing, or do you kind of approach a new project every single time you hit the dye baths?
No, I absolutely get fed creatively from my previous work. And I think this class is part of it. When I'm onto something new and trying something new and excited, and it's like Christmas morning when I'm taking off the clamps and the templates and opening up the whatever, and I start going, oh, if I just do this way instead of this way, or use this to tie it instead of a rubber band, twine or sinew or a zip tie, you can, the most minor tweak gives you a whole different experience. and that feeds my creative muse and makes me go back and do it again. And that's how I've learned all this.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've never taken a dye class. When I learned how to do this, there was no internet. I learned everything the hard way, trial and error. And there were very few books even on the market. So.
What drew you to dyeing fabric?
I had a teacher, my home ec teacher in 8th grade, Mrs. Flanagan. I thought she was nuts. She turned a bunch of 12-year-olds loose with dye. And I think that happens for a lot of kids. You dye the t-shirts. The next week, she said, okay, now we're going to dye the fabric, cut out the t-shirt, and make the t-shirt.
Got it.
So effectively, she taught us fussy cutting.
Mhm.
Then this crazy woman, remind you, we're in 8th grade. She breaks out skillets full of hot wax, and we had 2 weeks worth of batik.
Wow.
And I mean, little did I know I would grow up to be Mrs. Flanagan, and all my diehards would be my 12-year-olds. But I also had a very creative mother. And if you needed something, you made it.
Yeah.
And it was creativity was encouraged in our house.
Mhm.
It wasn't one of those houses where, oh, daddy's come home, clean your mess up. It was, oh, Cindy's quiet and really into this and having fun, and dad will get over it when he comes home and there's a huge mess.
Yes, yes. And she's a happy child, so let her go.
Yeah,
Just let her go.
yeah,
Exactly. You know,
yeah,
kids love to make things. You're at that age where you're just learning how to manipulate your environment. Everybody else is doing stuff to you, and everybody else is in control. But when you can put something in front of it in a kid's hands, and they can make
yeah.
it, like Mrs. Flanagan, is that her name? Mrs. Flanagan
Mrs. Flanagan.
gave you all that hot wax, and you're like, this is so cool. Oh, that is awesome, Cindy. Yeah.
She changed my life.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So let's. I want to find out. When we met, it was with the Susan Brubaker Knapp, and we were getting ready. You're in the green room. It's not a green room, but you're prepping for all your stuff, and it was very exciting and very fun. And who? It was Heidi Profetti and Libby Williams
Heidi,
were with us,
yeah.
and
Uh,
I didn't meet Luana Rubin at that time. She came a little later. She left a little later, and we met at Quilt Market. And now we're like buddies now. But apparently she was
Soul
there.
sisters.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Soul sister.
Yeah, Luana is a soul sister.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
good people.
Um, Joyce Becker was there.
Yes, yes, that's right. Okay.
Honey, that was funny because I had to catch a really, really early flight out of Phoenix. And we had all friended each other and started chatting because we knew we were going to be working together.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sitting at the Phoenix airport that morning waiting to get on a plane. And I jump on Facebook and see Joyce's post that she's got a layover. She's already caught the first flight. And now she's sitting in Phoenix waiting to catch the next plane.
Oh,
And I look up and she's sitting right across from me. So Joyce and I got to fly into that together.
very cool.
And ironically, the woman who sat in the third seat was also a quilter.
Oh my goodness.
And she thought she'd died and gone to heaven.
Exactly, exactly. Well, that's when the world was open and we could travel and do all that stuff. How has your life changed in the last year?
Honey, my life. Woo. Well, when you came to my ombre class, I was working out of my kitchen.
Mhm.
I have been doing this for 12 years out of a very small addition in our very old Scottsdale small house. And it worked. It was claustrophobic. I couldn't move. Cutting fabric, getting kits out for the students to dye, and trying to do it in any kind of a rapid succession so that I could pay my bills. Minor detail.
Yeah, we do have bills to pay, don't we? Those of us who are
Well,
doing.
and I had 60 classes cancel.
Oh gosh, yes.
So it was over. And our mutual friend Renee Merrill called me and said, I think you should teach online. And got me over the tech
Right.
hurdle.
Mhm.
And then my husband came home to work. He works in early childhood trauma, and so was no longer allowed to go into the preschools and the kids' schools
Mhm.
in the early days of the lockdown. And he's working with Zoom meetings, and I'm working with Zoom meetings. And 1,600 square foot house, and it was not a working solution. And out of nowhere, I had been looking for a place for the last several years. I do live in Old Town Scottsdale. The rents are stupid, just insanely stupid.
Yeah.
And out of the blue, my phone rang, and it was a realtor that I had talked to months before. He said, "Are you still that artist? Are you still looking for a place?" And I said, "Maybe." And I'm thinking, I don't have any money. How am I going to make this happen? If I don't, I'm likely to get a divorce before this is over, because it was not working well.
Something's got to change, honey. Yeah.
And lo and behold, it was so reasonable that I ended up moving into a studio 1.5 miles from my house in Old Town Scottsdale. If you know Scottsdale, I am at the corner of Main and Marshall, which is, like living in art heaven. I am surrounded by painters and sculptors and jewelers, and they're not quilters, but they're still my tribe. And I'm in a little beautiful courtyard setting, so I get some retail, but not really.
Yeah.
And MJ, I'm a very spiritual person, and I believe that the universe gives you gifts when you're ready for them.
Always.
And I was nervous as a cat on a hot tin roof signing this lease. I just didn't know if it was the right thing to do, but everything felt right. So the first night, this will crack you up, but I may have to show you. It's 116, no air conditioning. I grab a bottle of champagne because I just signed this lease. I grab a hammer and my husband, and we come down here. There's this little alcove. I'll twist the camera and show you here. Okay. There's a little alcove right here. See it?
Yeah, I do. I love the rainbow tile. Yes.
I said to the landlord, it had a cabinet and shelves, and I said, "I'm going to rip that out. There's a slop sink on the other side. I'm going to pull it through to this side because I need water."
Yeah.
He didn't say a word to me. He said, "That's fine." So that first night, MJ, we're in here, and I pop that cork and hand him that hammer, say, "Pull that countertop up. We're doing demo." It was a counter height bathtub, MJ.
What?
Fully, I know.
Like your perfect solution, a counter height. Who does that? Who does bathtubs?
It's hilarious because when I teach on the road, one of the pieces of the class is to teach you how to go back to your hotel and rinse and wash in the bathtub without destroying the hotel bathroom. So I made some beautiful little rainbow tiles. Oops. Uh-oh. And
oh my God.
And it's perfect for me. It's perfect.
Okay, so let me just so the magic of this was there was a countertop there. And what unbeknownst to you, underneath it was literally that tub. You were thinking you were going to have to do a whole bunch of demo and bring the plumbing to your site. It was already there.
I had bought the sink. I had the contractors lined up. They were showing up, and I'm like, "No, wait, let me think about this." So urban myth is that this was a colonoscopy clinic. I choose to believe it was for puppy washing. I choose to believe dog grooming. Regardless, there was a sticker in the bottom of the sink, the tub, and it was brand new. It had never been used.
Oh, my word.
So it is now the dye tub.
I love it, Cindy. That is so fabulous. Well, that is a gift. You just have to say, thank you. Thank you.
Well, that's when I knew. That's when I knew I was following all the signs and that this place was meant to be mine.
Exactly. We talk about the heart and listening to our heart. We talk, a lot of times when I'm doing my classes, color is the thing that freaks them out the most. And you probably get that same thing too with your folks. They're like, oh, what if I? And you're just like, you just have to play. And we audition colors, and when you listen to your heart, and when you hear your heart go, that's it. That's your color combination. And we don't often listen to that. So I totally get it. I totally get it. Doing things that scare you but feel right. It's like I can't believe I'm doing this. What am I doing? But I can't not do it. So I'm so yes. That's why we're these soul sisters. I get it, girl. Yeah. Oh well, that's
The universe is a kind place, even when the shit's hitting the fan. Pardon my French, but it's been a rough, so many rough things.
yeah.
But you always have to dig for blessings, and if you look hard enough, they're there. In many ways, it's been really good for me
Yeah.
to get up and go to work every day again.
Yeah. Exactly. In
Um,
this horrible pandemic where we're all locked in our houses, but we have this lifeline of this technology that's allowed us to recreate ourselves online, where we can do this. We can, and all the people that I'm working with in the Tiny Treasures Club, I never would have met you, all these wonderful people who are listening to this conversation. And
yeah,
it's a blessing. I mean,
yeah.
magic is happening already. And I'm going to take it. I'll accept it. I'll take it. So, yeah. All right. So, what are you working on right now?
Well,
Oh, go ahead.
what am I working on right now? I just finished my dotting class.
Oh,
There, this was in. I don't know if you can see there. It's embellished with
oh,
gears.
gears? Did you say?
Gears.
Yes,
It's all steampunk. Can you see the?
yes, I can. I can. And you know what, Cindy? I'm going to cut this part out, but if you take a snapshot of that, I can actually drop that into our video. So I'm going to be bringing up images of your artwork as we go, if that's okay, as I'm editing,
Absolutely.
so people
I'll
can.
take some pictures of it. MJ, this is such a fun technique. And I submitted 2 quilts to Quilting Arts. One of them is called Grinding to a Halt,
Oh,
that I did as the pandemic set in.
hmm.
And then this one is called Getting It in Gear,
Love it.
because you can't let, as an artist, if you let what's happening out there influence what's happening in your art, you'll freeze and
Yeah.
you won't do it. And you need to keep creative to survive what's going on out there. So get it in gear and start creating again if you haven't
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
been.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I'm getting Saturday, I've got the Lonely Hearts class. I'm doing another Valentine's class coming up. Oh, and then I'm doing a really fun, I've started doing some mystery classes.
More, tell me more.
Well, we did just a goofy, silly one for Halloween. And I thought, Mardi Gras,
Mhm.
I'm in the mood for a party, even if we can't party together. So I'm sending an envelope full of everything but cotton fabric, which is what you usually get in my classes, is good quilters cotton. And this one has all kinds of sumptuous, luscious Mardi Gras type. I'm going to call them materials because they're not all fabric.
Okay.
And we're going to dye them together. And then you're going to have 4 or 5 days to do a little project with them. And then we're going to have a Fat Tuesday Zoom party. Grab a hurricane and come and show off your Mardi Gras Madness mystery.
I love it. I love that. So, how can people connect with you? I mean, if they, I mean, I think like you said, the gemstones just holler for gradients and for dyed fabrics. I mean, it just makes them pop. So, can I ask you a question about rat ombres?
Yeah.
What, because you were, I'm I'll just do a quick that, you use different saturations of dye down, within different layers. And you just go straight across. Could you do something like zoom with one and then
Oh,
zoom with another and zoom? So you have, maybe it goes from dark to light to dark. So it's not just dun 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 dun, but you have a little bit more play into that, a
oh
wiggle
yeah.
to your
You
ombre.
can you can do it absolutely that way.
Okay.
And so you can create motion in
Yes.
your ombre.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and I have been doing some beautiful um, sunsets
Oh, yum.
and sunrises with the same kit, just applying the dye and the fabric a little differently.
Beautiful.
Uh, it's a wonderful rig that um, uh, ombre, when you get on Google or YouTube, it's always some little 20-year-old bopper who can still bend over and touch the floor. And those days are,
Oh,
that does not sound like fun
over.
to me. That sounds like calisthenics.
Right.
I don't want to wear my parts out. So I came up with a way to work smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with another person in the industry, and we have designed this drip rig
Uh-huh.
that allows you to suspend the fabric all in a very tidy manner.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a fun way to work. And, it's one of my favorite classes, Jay, because for the first time in my life, gravity is my friend.
I love it. I love it. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, you don't have to bend over, touch your toes. You don't have to get up and down off the floor. I mean, I'm done with that, and
Yeah,
you could just stand and do this. That's the cool thing about your kits. You have everything in there. Everything.
yeah.
So, very
For the
cool.
most part, um, I figured out that since we're working at home now, and there's a private Facebook class for every page. No, yeah, a private Facebook
Hey,
page
yes.
group for every class.
Yes.
And in many ways, MJ, it's helped me be a better teacher
Yes.
because I can get on there 2 or 3 days in advance. People are nervous. Oftentimes they've never dyed fabric at home and I've heard horror stories. And it's like, well, you know what? I didn't put any of those in your kit. We left all of those out. And so I'm going to teach you how to set up your work area.
Okay.
I'm going to teach you what size bins you need, and you have to provide a few little things. But I call the series Diehards at Home, and I'm putting out about 3 classes a month.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Cindy, I tell you what, I need to be another one of those classes, and I think I audited your class, and so I didn't have the rig. I just kind of watched it and to see how you were doing the online stuff, and I just learned a ton. But I need to go back and to do my own because I think I want to experiment with some fun, funky ways of putting dye on fabric that would
Oh,
benefit the gem.
absolutely.
Yeah.
MJ, the reason I invited you to monitor that class is because of your gemstones. I think it's a marriage made in quilter's heaven.
I agree. We need to do a retreat. We just need to do a retreat together, like a weekend retreat on Zoom, where we'll dye the fabric, and then I will, we'll make a pattern out of it. We'll make a gem out of it. Sound good?
Fabulous.
Love it. I love it.
Fabulous. We can custom color the dye packs to create exactly the colors we need for
Right.
my birthstone is emerald.
Yes. Amethyst, citrine, sapphire, ruby, watermelon tourmalines. I mean, it would be so much fun. Let's think about doing that.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Let's do it.
I miss you. I'm so glad we got to chat this
I
afternoon.
miss you too, girl.
Yeah.
Have a good time with your itty bitty gemstone club.
We are having fun. We're having fun. Learning about gemstones and making little things, and now we're making a little bit bigger things. But it's keeping the the design aspect going, and the creative juices going, and we're creating this great community of people who love gems and quilts. So it's kind of like our tribe. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we're blessed to have them.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. All right, darling. Mwah. Thanks so much. Be well.
Love you, girl.
Love you too.
You too.
Bye bye.